Hey guys, welcome back to Sincerely Kehlani. My name is Kehlani, and today we're going to be hanging out, well, you're going to be hanging out with my disembodied voice through this voiceover, but today we're going to be tackling this dress. Calling it, probably as you saw in the title, it's Cheryl's tea dress. So Cheryl is my mom, she's wonderful, she's amazing, and if she asked me to make her a new dress, then that is what I will do. Now the funny thing about this dress is, as you're going to be watching me designing it, this isn't how it ended up coming out. And a couple of the reasons would be because, one, I personally try to design in a low waist way. So I created this process in which I create dresses using rectangles, triangles, and squares when I was creating my final collection in college, which you'll hear more about a little bit later on, not in this video, in a different video. But when I'm creating low waist dresses, my aim is just to use as much of the fabric as possible in terms of that rectangle of fabric. So the design that I'm coming up with at the moment is supposed to be a V-neck top with a banded waist, some flounce sleeves, and a pleated skirt. Now, you'll see in the final product, it kind of turned out that way, but not exactly. And something I want to talk about today is the creative process, especially when it comes to doing something your way. So with traditional pattern making and with fashion, you're typically going to use pattern blocks if you're creating the patterns yourself. So you're going to use your basic blocks to then create your styles. Now with traditional pattern making, as I learned through my 3 years of college, there is a lot of waste. There's ways to get around it. Amazing people from the college who did create pieces using traditional pattern making, but they were able to piece it together on a large scale pattern that they were able to make it zero waste, which is amazing. But I'm a little bit simpler, and I get my inspiration from Victorian chemises, so the undergarments that go underneath the corset and the dresses at the time. But yeah, basically the creative process, when it comes to creating zero waste garments, I have to do a lot of thinking outside of the box. When I'm designing personally, I can see the pieces in my mind. So I'm a very good visualizer for most of the time. So as I'm designing this dress, I already thought that, as you're seeing on the screen, this is what the pieces are going to look like, most likely when I pattern them, like when I cut out the pieces of fabric and sew them together. And I've drawn them in a way so that I'm realizing, okay, this is where this piece is gonna go, this is where this piece is gonna go, this is how it's all going to go together. And you get that basic idea. The hardest part comes to actually getting the measurements out so that you can get the fit that you want and use the fabric in a sustainable way. Now, I always try to stress doing low waist rather than zero waist, because trying to make yourself do something in perfection, like most people say, with zero waist, and something that I learned when I first got into zero waist as a lifestyle in general, is that trying to achieve zero is not possible, and you're just gonna upset yourself. So striving for low waist, but basically this dress is gonna be comprised of rectangles, triangles, squares, as well as like the top piece, which I don't know, I guess you could call like a trapezoid-like piece. Creating low-waist garments for me is extremely important because our fashion industry has a lot of waste in it. Most of you know about fast fashion. Thrifting is always an amazing option, but there are still so many who create clothing, and I just want to either hopefully be able to sell some of these pieces to you in the future, but otherwise I want to inspire you as a up-and-coming fashion designer, as an up-and-coming seamstress, to try and think of a different way of designing, of pattern making, of getting your pieces to fit together, because there was a time when we were able to. Like I said, most of these pieces, my dresses, are based off of a Victorian chemise that was made up of Victorian / Renaissance chemise, but they were made with rectangles, triangles, and squares because you got the most use out of your fabric. Because you're thinking back in the 1800s, or even going earlier than that, going to Renaissance, going to the 1600s, you didn't have a lot of access to fabric. You didn't have the means to be constantly buying fabric from the store. You had your people who came into town once a week or once a month. I'm not really sure. I'm not a historian in that way, but you had those people coming to town and getting those things, but in reality, you had to use what you had. And if you didn't, then you were out of luck. Now, as you can see, I drew out the pattern on muslin because I wanted to do a sample to make sure it kind of fit, and it ended up being different from what I originally drew out. That is how things kind of started to get a little bit messed up, because I started to change things because I thought I was doing better than I was. So that is also something when it comes to being a creative, you think you know better. And making mistakes is okay. It's taken me a long time to learn that, which sucks, and I'm still not okay with making mistakes. Ask my boyfriend. But when it comes to sewing, I'm pretty good. I know that it's easy to make mistakes, and I'll always make mistakes, so that is something that I've lived with. I did something really weird, as you're seeing, with this piece, and it actually really worked out. I'm going to try and incorporate it in other pieces, but I put the darts in upside down to create that swooped back neckline that you're going to see, but also not decreasing the waistline, which is what typically a dart would do. It intakes at the waist so that it will give you more shape. But I wanted to give the neckline shape without giving the waistline shape because I wanted to gather it, or in this case I put elastic in it, but you could also gather it. And this dress gave me a headache as I worked on it for on and off for about 3 months. It was supposed to be a birthday gift for my mom, which her birthday's in March, and she didn't get it until Mother's Day, which was May 14th or something like that. So here you can see the first look, and it did not turn out the way I wanted. When it came to creating my final collection for college, I had to do 3 different samples of just the base dress, and you're typically supposed to do about 5 or more in the industry, so doing 3 was just the minimum, and I only did 1, which was probably not the best idea since we're going to be doing a lot of changes to this dress. Hello. Okay, so we're in a new place. So I'm actually at my parents' right now in my childhood bedroom, which you will see more of in another video. So with that, hopefully this will be the last installment for this dress. I'm really hoping. But yeah, so we're gonna be using my handy dandy original sewing machine that was from my grandmother. It's not as fancy as my old one. It's just a basic model. I don't even know what model it is because it's covered in stickers, since I was really into putting stickers on my machine when I first got into sewing. It was really popular at the time. But anyways, let's get this machine set up, and we are going to finish this dress today. We're gonna finish it. Okay, let's hop into it. Something that I did forget to mention. So this series, where I'm going to be showing you different things that I've sewn, projects that I'm working on, or products that I'm wanting to give to you guys, whether, like I said, they be physical products or just patterns with videos to go along with them, I'm thinking of calling it chaotic seamstressing. You'll understand that more when you see the next episode next week, because this time around, it was just that this dress took me about 3 months to finally figure out, but the next one, well, had a little bit of a doozy, which was actually hinted in my first video that was posted on Saturday. So you may have an idea of what happened there, maybe you don't, but yeah, welcome to the series. Hope you enjoy. Okay, so I've got the shoulder seams sewn. I don't know if I mentioned this already, but the design that you saw previously, they've already changed again, just because in placing the pieces together, I've tried to figure out ways to use the pieces to get the most comfort, to get the nicest looking fit, because this is not turning out how I want. But that's okay. That's what fashion is, especially when you're making your own stuff, you're making it zero waste. It takes a lot of experimentation. So I gotta take this off. So yeah, so it's gonna look different, but will it look cute? I hope so. And the nice thing about being back in my parents' house is I have my Judies. I've got about 4 of them, all in different sizes. I don't have them with me at my boyfriend's apartment, just because there's not a lot of space. So at the moment, they gotta stay here, and I just gotta use myself as my Judy. But we're gonna figure out how we can place these, hopefully, maybe. So you gotta think that this is going to be all gathered with elastic, so it's not gonna be all poofy as it is now. Well, poofy in the sense that it's too big at the moment. But we want comfort. Oh, those pleats are nice. I need more pins. Okay, so I think this might be the ticket. Really hoping it is. So it turned out to be more of a pinafore style, because we got these wide, really wide sleeves, but this will hopefully be going like right under the bust for more of that empire style waist. Then we got the cross in the front. So this is it's turned out to be a very Regency dress, which isn't uncommon for me. I usually go Regency or Victorian, so that's how it's turned out. But let's get this together, get the elastic in, and hopefully this worked. Otherwise, I don't know what to do. Yeah, turned out kind of cute. I think we'll keep working on this pattern, and hopefully I'll be able to give it to you guys so you can make your own. It will be simple, so you'll be able to make your own dress. So yeah,